Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks video. And today we'll have a look at the changes in the armor model of all the tier 9 to 5 tank destroyers of the British tank line. Because all of those tanks will get some major armor buffs except for the 82, which is the only tank which get major nerfs. And for that we'll have the website tanks.gg, where it shows perfectly how those damage models will change. And on the left side we have the new 9.21 damage model, and on the right side we'll have the old one, which is in the current update. So I guess it is time that we have first of all a look at the Tortoise, because by gosh, many people I talk to right now simply hate that tank. Like, they say it has no armor at all and it's so frustrating to play through, and no wonder. Like, those tanks should be now in the same position, in default position. And as you can see, the lower plate of the usual Tortoise is only 230mm thick. This is only 250 effective. This one is 229 effective. This one is 240 and 171. Sadly enough though, the only thick part is the gun mantlet, where even there are kind of troll positions, but otherwise it is super strongly armored. It's 406mm thick. This will change on the 9.21 Tortoise. The gun mantle will go down to 304mm, but that's still way more enough to wreck some faces with it. But the good thing about this tank is now they also changed the upper front plate. It doesn't have this weak spot anymore, which is only 57mm thick. It's now homogeneous 100mm thick. The lower plate goes up to 270mm. That's 50mm more. Here we go also up to 215 impact armor, which is also 40mm more. And the cupola will stay the same. So with the 9.21 Tortoise, if you know how to play it, and I think there are a lot of people which love the Tortoise, and if you know how to play her, or it, I just assume the tank's gender, gosh dang it, and you know that you can drive around corners and hiding this weak spot up here, you will have an immensely strong armor. Yes, 290mm is still quite effective. There you have 290, 290, 280. So yes, people when they shoot gold, they will be able to penetrate you, but it will be much harder than it is with the current Tortoise, as you can see. Roughly 30 to 50mm more armor depending where you are aiming at, which is actually quite cool. What I like about those changes is that they still keep that weak spot, this 174mm weak spot, which, well, yes, I do not mind when tanks are strongly armored frontally, but they should have their obvious weak spots to be able to penetrate that. Otherwise, nothing really changed. I think the side armor 171, 124, 171. Yes, the side armor doesn't really changes at all. It stays the same, so you won't get any major differences when you shoot at the back or at the butt of the tank. Well, there is one minor change. This one will be 35mm thick instead of 38. Will be 38mm thick instead of 35. Okay, well then, what do we have else after the Tortoise? We'll go down to the AT-15. Here again in the default position, you can see that as with the Tortoise, the cupola got a lot thicker. Just there's one small part which is actually easily being penetrated, which is in the middle. Otherwise, the rest of the cupola gets up to 220mm of armor, which is great. The lower plate will stay the same with 228mm. The upper front plate with 127 will get slightly thicker and goes up to 140mm. This part of the upper front plate will stay the same, as you can see. When it comes to those cheeks, they will, as it looks, stay the same. This will also stay the same up here, so nothing much will change. The only big difference which is that the tank will lose that weak spot behind the gun mantlet, because, well, behind the gun mantlet you usually have quite a big hole, because obviously you need to turn that gun. Here you can see Oh, this big thingy here, this big slit is only 127 millimeters thick, and it will stop being a weak spot. It will receive an additional 152 millimeters of armor, which makes this tank, I guess, a lot more fun to play. And I think the progression is nice, because when you can hide your weak spot, this one here, you have it a lot easier. Plus the other cupola got buffed quite a bit, from 127 up to 150 and even 228. I didn't really thought that this cupola was a big problem anyway. Why? Because, well, it is really small, and this cupola is just so much easier to hit. When we look from the side though, you can see that they updated the damage model. It looks more realistic. If we go now to the not live, excuse me, I want to go to the visual. Might take a short while till it is loaded. You can see that here it is a homogeneous plate, and here it isn't in a damage model. What's it called? The impact numbers, they change a little bit. But otherwise, not much has changed about the HD model. It still stays the same. So let's go to the 87, which is in my opinion one of the tanks which received quite a good buff. Oops, let me just put it again in default position. There we go. As you can see, the cupola got buffed to 152 millimeters of armor from 101. And 152 millimeters of armor is already quite thick for tier 7. I always take for tier 7 the IS as a good value, as it has 175 millimeters of penetration. It's not something like a Tiger with 203. And an IS will have its fair share of problems to penetrate here. Plus, this part here got also buffed greatly to 200 millimeters. This little cupola got buffed by twice or even close to 3 times as much armor, from 76 millimeters to 203. And I think the most, or kind of like my personal problem, is that they changed this weak spot here. Here you can see it is 67 millimeters thick. Sure, it could be a little bit stronger, but giving it an additional 200 millimeters is really strong, and I do not really like that change. Because now you have a cupola which is fairly hard to punch through, as it is also being protected by this part here, where beforehand it wasn't. So yeah, the 87 might as well be one of the strongest tanks now in the line, if you are able to play it around its strengths, being around a corner where you can hide all this part of the tank and probably try to go around the corner like this. If you manage to do this, you have an amazingly strong tank, which is, as I think it is really cool. Even though they actually nerfed this armor by 10 millimeters, I still think it will be strong enough. When it is top tier, it will feel simply amazing. To the 88, the 88 also got quite some changes. It also loses this ridiculous weak spot here, and now it will be actually also a really strong tank. When you can hide those cupolas here, you will have a great time, because not only, again, we have the same problem, 203 millimeters of armor on tier 6 is really strong. It is hiding half of this cupola here, and this cupola is also not a weak spot. It will simply look amazing if you can hide this tank like this. Seriously, this was a huge weak spot for the 88, because yeah, for some reason there this gun was. But now it is not a weak spot at all anymore. As you can see, 203 millimeters against 76, and all this bulk was 76. Now it's nothing anymore. All those top things here are quite strongly armored. And yeah, I think this tank even also will be really strong in general. What I do not really like right now, or didn't like about this model in general, first of all, you can see that it's simply flat. Like they just took what's it called? Just took like a knife, cut it down here, and splattered on some additional armor. Plus they also give it here some armor. What I do not like though is when you look at the tank from the side, you can see that this is also armor. I would think it would be better to make this damage model a little bit more accurate, meaning make this here, like, I don't know how much this would be, make here a little bit spaced armor, and make it like 152 millimeters thick, so you have this 203 millimeters of armor. But up here should only be 152 millimeters thick, because, well, you don't have this spaced armor anymore. Plus, this thing here is apparently not part of the damage model, as you can see, as it used to be. This is the damage model from before. And if we go back to the collision model here, it is simply gone, which, well, I don't know. Cupolas are always kind of funky to work around, so yeah, we will see. We will certainly see. Otherwise, let's go to the last tank in our spicy ass, no, excuse me, for our spicy armor review, and this is the 82. And as you can see, the 82 used to be one of the strongest armored tanks on tier 2. It is even tier 5. It is even the strongest, I think. Just the gun mantle is from time to time quite weak, 100 millimeters thick, but it was 203 millimeters thick here, 203, 200. Cupola is also 102 millimeters thick. They changed it a little bit. The cupola stays the same, but the armor was nerfed by 50 millimeters, which is a really much. The side armor got also nerfed by 25 millimeters. The backside armor got even nerfed by 50 millimeters. So yeah, people or guys which stats padded or just simply steel clubbed with this tank, I'm sorry to say this, but your favorite tank lost a lot of its flavor. It even got several positions where thicker guns have actually outpowered. For example, this spot here, no, not actually, wait a second, 38 times 3, no, it's not auto pen, I'm sorry. This one up here will be auto pen, but this used to be auto pen anyway. But yeah, it got a lot of nerfs, the 82, which, well, I didn't really thought it was a super strong tank or something which I had super problems with, because when you play around this tank well or properly, you can outplay it with simply sight. Bombing him in the side. And I think the side armor nerf is okay. I totally agree on the side armor nerf. But what I don't agree is that they have to actually nerf the frontal armor too, even so harshly that you have here really weak spots. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, let me know in the comment section below. This was, well, more talking than showing gameplays. I hope I was able to explain to you what exactly happens in the new update. If so, thanks for watching and let me know. Bye bye.